to our author interview with Nook Books. Today we're interviewing Tracy Smith, the author of The First Lady of Jamestown, and most recently, the first book in the Kiki and George series. Tracy has spent several years teaching inside the classroom and online. She loves stories of ordinary people who face extraordinary circumstances and rise to the occasion. She lives in northern Utah with her husband and three children, two dogs, and 13 chickens. We're so glad to have her with us today. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. We love to have authors, and we're glad you're joining our team and having your books with us on Night Nook Books. Let's talk a little bit about where you started with books early in life. Do you have any memories of your favorite books growing up?
I guess I've always loved history. I love the American Girl stories, especially the one with the girl in the colonial Williamsburg, which is ironic because I ended up living there. So I always loved that story. Little House on the Prairie. When I was older, I read like all the Jurassic Park books, and I kind of got back into different like fantasy and excitement, adventure and whatnot. But yeah, I always go back to the American Girl doll books. I love those.
The original. That is so fun. Do you have a favorite character in those books? I don't know if I read those actually. I should have to pull them
Oh,
off
yeah.
the
I know.
library
Now
shelf.
I'm like racking my brain. So Colonial Williamsburg is in Virginia, and the girl that lived there, I want to say it was like Savannah.
Oh,
And so
okay.
they basically take a different era of the United States and they have a girl that's just a normal girl. And so then there's like Addie in like the 1920s and or maybe she's in the 1800s. Now I'm mixing them all up. But I remember like colonial period is like my favorite time to learn about. And World War II.
That's fun. Yeah, yeah, and we see that in your book, some of the love
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
history. That's great. So, do you have any specific time where you remember that love of history really developing and growing?
I remember I was pretty close to my grandparents, and every time we go to their house, they have like all the old photo albums, you know, the one where you can peel it and you can see it's like that little plastic, and it's like sticky and like the yellow stuff is like seeping on the corners. Um, so I just remember going and just asking questions after questions after questions, and I've always felt drawn to my family and drawn to stories, and ironically, after I've been published, my mom was like, "You used to always tell stories and write stories." It's like I did. Like I don't remember writing them, but I used to love doing it. And so I feel like I've always been drawn to history.
That is incredible. I I loved the sense
Adore
of details in that description. Like I could see myself looking at that photo book.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something I miss today, like even with my kids. Like I have tons of photos on my phone, but we don't you don't just get to flip through a book. Like you don't have that tactile. I think some people print them out. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
you don't
Like
have that
and just
paper.
yeah, and just like a
Get your picture
yeah.
off of it.
Yeah. And that like kind of that coffee table where it's just sitting out and you when you're
Uh,
bored you just pull it out and glance at it. You know, like just we kind of miss
yeah.
that uh impromptu photo. So, what a fun
Yeah. And the
memory.
nostalgia, this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
I love that so much.
it.
Well, that's great. And you uh kept writing, kept researching history, and you're here today. So that's great. Do you have any authors that inspired your writing journey?
I really obviously I love history books, but I really like is it Anthony Doerr the that does like the all the light we cannot see and like salt to see and those type of books were just like I didn't know that aspect of that war or even things that I've studied. I love learning about people I didn't know about through history, and it's mostly people that are just normal people that have risen to the occasion.
That's
I really love Heather B. Moore's books. I feel like she does a lot of research and she really tries to project stories really well that people don't know about. And then obviously, like I love a good Regency, like Siam Beasley and Sarah Eden books, and just clean, happy. The stories you can any story you can put yourself in their shoes, especially for different time periods.
it's such a great educational opportunity, an opportunity to open your mind to the experiences of others.
Yeah.
Like it's something we'll never live, but we can
Yeah.
understand it.
It like opens a new portal like for yourself to
Right.
experience, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed All the Light We Cannot See. Just
So you're just like,
history that you didn't know. Oh, yeah,
yeah.
that's a great one. So in your bio, we talked about you being a teacher. Do you want to talk about your experience teaching and seeing kids read stories?
Yeah. I taught fifth grade. And then before that, I student taught third and fifth, and I taught kindergarten and um, the whole gamut. And I also taught students how to read English for China in China for 3 years and online. I wish I was there. That'd be cool. But I feel like in my own children, just like when you see them spark, when it actually starts to click, I don't think people realize how important reading is to cover all the subjects. So like if I had a student that didn't know how to read well, that affects their science, it affects their math, it affects health, it affects history, it affects all the things, right? And so when you can see that click, I try to always I had a big library, and then we would have like table of the week, and they got to go back and sit in like the really comfy chairs in the library and like have that extra time. And it wasn't always like feasible to have a bunch of like free reading time, but I really tried to make it a point. And I felt like they just got excited about learning in general because they're able to read and have like a tactile book in their hand. So yeah, I love it. And it's amazing to see the doors open when that kid feels confident in what they're doing as a reader. And to see even if you're shifting and that's one reason I'll talk about later. I wrote this book is because I had a couple kids that were lower reading levels, but they didn't want to feel left out or feel stupid, but they still want to venture. And so there's all different levels, but when you can just get it just right for that kid and that spark goes off, it is like the best feeling in the world just to see them light up. So cool.
I love that. What a fun experience to see that too in the classroom. As hard as teaching is, like teaching is so difficult. And I am so grateful for teachers that you do that and do inspire the love of reading. One of the books I was teaching sixth grade for a year, and the book that, well, I actually would use this book for classroom management because there's
Mm.
at a point that like nothing would get the kids settled down except for the our anyways, if we had any extra time right before the end of the day, I would read the Westing game out loud.
Fun. Yeah.
And that, anyways, it was the one thing that could get the whole class to sit and listen, and they would, anyways. So it is fun to see those moments when reading clicks, for sure.
And it's funny because you think they're sixth grade, they're like, oh, I'm too cool. But when you get a book out, they're like, they want to know. And they will like, no, remember how you're supposed to read to us? Remember, Mrs. Smith, you forgot this part. Like they don't forget. And it's important. Yeah. I love that.
Something about our human nature, we love story. You know, even kids that think they're cool, they can get into the story. But you're right about the confidence, right? If they don't have the confidence or the ability to comprehend reading on their own, it can be a huge detriment. So just giving them that
Yeah.
confidence is everything. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about your writing process?
Yeah, as a historical fiction author, I like to write about true stories. And so, especially people we don't know about. So it's either a real character in history or an actual event or a place that things happened that we don't know about, events, like you said. So I basically like just immerse myself in tons and tons of research. So I will try to get a hold of anything I can for certificates, test certificates, especially stories. Whether it be firsthand stories or sometimes it's written like Sybil Eddington was like 100 years later. And so it's like, what is really speculation? What is real? And just like, it just dive. And then once I've kind of like figured out my storyline and what that person may or may not have been like just from resources, I literally will do those old web charts where I'll put Mrs. Smith or Tracy Smith, I'll put it in the middle, and then I put like a line to an adjective, like that person was really strong, or that person had dark hair, that person had dark complexion, light complexion, whatever it is. They had a big nose, like whatever it is to designate that person, maybe that curly hair or straight hair. So I do the looks, but I always also dive deeper into their attributes. And if I don't know, which a lot of times I don't know, I will sometimes take personality tests as if I'm either trying to figure out a character, maybe I'll pick a personality, and then what would that personality be like with somebody that's a type A versus, type B? Or I'll do like the Myers-Briggs tests or Enneagrams. Those really help. And sometimes I will, like, for instance, my newer book is about my grandfather. And obviously I knew him as a grandpa, but I tried my best to like answer the questions as if I was him. And then it really helps give more of a personality aspect and traits so that I can use that in my writing. And then once I have these stories, sometimes they just like flood my mind. Like I will be 1 in the morning, I'm like, dang it, because I'm trying to sleep and this story is just coming to me. And so I always keep like a notepad, and then I just come back and make as much notes as I can. Sometimes I just write, and I really try hard not to critique myself so much in the beginning.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really important just to get it out and then go back and then refine. And like honestly, editing. I don't feel like that's ever done, but it's neat how the story will start to progress. And then it's just the characters too, they start to come alive. I've even had like a nightmare about this Nazi I wrote about, and it's so silly because it's a made up character, but like my brain is always thinking about these characters and
Yeah.
they start to come alive. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. How many hours would you say? Is it different for every project?
As far as like the research or the writing
Yeah,
process, like what part?
in the research specifically, like how many hours do you think you would put into research before you sit down and work on the characters even?
That is a good question. Honestly, it will be sometimes weeks and months. I am writing a book about these sisters during the Revolutionary War called the Stillwell Sisters, and I probably researched for like 6 months. I went on a research trip to New Jersey, and while I was there, it was putting the old research I had where I knew the places I wanted to look, but I just wanted a little bit more story, especially if there's any local folk tales or real stories about these sisters during the Revolutionary War. And like I feel like everything just reopened up. And so I have a deeper understanding because I did the initial research. So it's a very long answer, but I still feel like it's been a year and a half-ish since I started this story. And
Yeah.
now it's starting to form a little bit more. And then I'm gonna start writing again. But I'm like refining the research. And sometimes it's not as deep and sometimes it's deeper, especially when you have more information. Like my book I'm writing or just wrote that's going to get published in Cedar Fort, it's about my grandpa's true story. So I have pictures of them. I know him. So I really want to do it justice even more and like dive deeper into the research. But yeah, I would say weeks and months
Yeah.
of research, to be honest.
Which is amazing and so difficult as an author to spend all that time without any guarantee of, you know, a financial return or the book being published. But you have such passion for it. I love that so much. That's amazing to see.
Thank you.
Where,
Yeah, it's funny. I was telling a friend, I'm like, I should just write kid books that are just fantasy because I won't have to do research. But that's not what I know I'm supposed to do the research, and it just compels me. Like, it really drives me to learn more about these people and, and try to portray them in the right way or what really happened. But
yeah, it's amazing to
yeah.
see your spark when you talk about that. That's so amazing. What are some difficulties authors face?
So I think for me, the biggest problem is time because I'm a mother of three, and then trying to do research and make sure I'm doing it adequately. Especially these are people that feel, and I feel I should say that I want their stories told well, and I want to do it justice. And I feel like I don't want to shortcut or cut new corners when I'm trying to do the research for them. But yeah, the mom guilt is like if I go on a trip and I'm like, oh, and I'm leaving my kids for a couple days, but I usually try to have a kid with me or my husband with me. I haven't had too many trips, but it's the time to like really just dive in and get it done well. And another problem is just making sure I'm accurate. Like there's so much information out there, and so I try really hard to document and to use my sources properly, and make sure if I'm using pictures or incorporating that I'm getting permission, and just really want to do it the right way. And so I know that I probably put a little bit too hard standards on myself, but I'm just trying really hard, and I think that's hard as a historical fiction author because I have so much passion and I really want it done the right way, like done well, I should say.
It shows though, like you in your writing and in your stories that are coming out. The one that came out and the ones that are coming, it is all in there. So it's fun to hear you talk about that. What are your goals from here? What do you hope to achieve with your writing?
Especially because I'm not in the classroom full time anymore. My goal is to teach history through literature, whether that be a 5 year old or a 50-year old, the whole range. But I feel like if I can share these stories of just amazing people that have done hard things, then we can learn that we can do hard things too. And so I'm just going to keep writing. I already have like 5 stories in my head. So when I eventually have time in 20 years, maybe I'll have them all out. I probably won't, but I'm just going to keep moving forward and yeah, share that with others.
I love how you said that. And it kind of answered the next thought or question I had was if you put themes or messages in your book.
That's a good question. Yeah, I think they're all a little different. I try to make them clean and positive. Like the one about my grandpa is that God is intertwined in all our lives. Like he's more aware of us than we know. The other one, the Timeless Adventures of Kiki and George, it's more of like if we work together, we don't have to be afraid. And so it's just like these trying to make these positive themes that we can take away from people's stories. And we've all survived our hardest days, right? And so it's like trying to pick out the good amongst the chaos, I guess is my goal, but every book is a little bit different.
Yeah. You said that really fast, but those were some very inspiring themes and messages. I loved that so much. I am really excited to read these two new books. Why don't you kind of give us a little more detail about the book that's out and the two books that you've kind of been referencing?
Yeah, my first book, I don't know if you can see it, is First Lady of Jamestown, and she's actually, I'm not sure if we're related at the time, but at the time I was able to see all her records because it said we're related, and so now it's kind of muddy, but she is the first English woman to come to America and survive, and so I think her story is amazing. It's based on, again, a true story, so I have all the research in the back. I have her statue, a lot of things that they talk about in Jamestown, and this is a YA historical fiction, and that's how I found her. But it said she was my direct. The Timeless Adventures of Kiki and George is a time travel middle grade series. And this is book one. So that launches November 17th. I have a book that Cedar Fort is publishing. I don't have the cover yet. I can't wait to see it. But it is about friendship and faith across 2 world wars. And that's called Threads of Faith. And that hopefully should be out in February of 2026.
Hey, that is really, really fun. So for other writers out there who have aspirations, can you describe the publishing process, maybe of book one, what that looked like from like when your book was done to how it got on shelves?
Yeah, once you get accepted by a publisher, the time span can vary. It could be 6 months, which is crazy fast, or it could be like a year and a half. Um, some publishers will let you have a little bit more say and your covers and things like that, and some won't. I feel like once we got it out, I tend to do like a book launch party, and then again, it's on Amazon, and then it's really, really neat to have the audiobook and to hear somebody read your story. It's so neat. Like when First Lady of Jamestown came out, the actress is British, which she should be because she's from England. And it was just the coolest thing to hear her voice. So that's like a really part of the fun part of the process. And then it kind of gets this lull where it gets really exciting in the beginning because your book will launch and you'll have all these algorithms on Amazon that make it kind of go up higher in the list. And then it's normal to kind of do this little wave. The biggest thing is to keep talking with your publisher and making sure ads are going out. And honestly, I feel like nowadays, as an author, you really have to advertise yourself, which is something I struggle with. But putting it out on social media, making sure that you are getting people commenting on the book and sharing the book. I feel like you could be the best writer in the world, but like it's hard to get it out to readers. And I feel like it's hard because as authors, we're just so passionate about it, but I'm not a marketing person. And so I feel like it's been pushing me to learn more about how to market better and how to get out there. Book signings, which is like my favorite. And I really love to go into schools because obviously I was a teacher too. But any opportunity I have, I try to talk about it, and then give sometimes I give my book away for free just because I feel like it's important to like advertise as well because word of mouth. But yeah, so it's been an interesting process. My first book was published, and then my second one, I wanted the chance, so I self-published, and my third one is getting published with the bigger publisher. So it's kind of interesting. I feel like a lot of authors have a blend of all of that, and there's just a lot of variety now because there's so many programs you can do for self-publishing and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so glad that you were able to come and visit with us today. You had so many great things to share, and I'm so excited for your next books. I haven't heard the audiobook, so I am actually really excited to go find that and listen to the audiobook. So it was so great. Are there any last thoughts you want to share with us?
Just if you're an aspiring author, just write. Don't don't be so hard on yourself and do it and have that experience. And I feel like the best writing is just writing, editing. Like just it's okay to not be perfect. And I feel like everyone has a story to tell. And if you are not a writer but you just love to read, just keep going and maybe try something new. And remember how hard it is to write a book. So give the author a little bit of slack. But it's been a really fun experience. I'm grateful for the opportunity and thank you for having me.
Yeah, that was awesome. Okay, thanks for talking with us. We'll just do a quick plug, Night Nook Books. Right now you can Google that and come up. That is direct sales. So that means that um, it helps the author. They get a little more than Amazon, and they also know that you're a fan and you like their books. So if you go to Night Nook Books right now, we're reaching out and gathering more authors and giving them the opportunity to sell on our website. So we'd love your support. Love if you sign up for the newsletter. We're excited for Tracy's newest book. And you talked about the launch party, but maybe give us the details really quick one more time, like when and where.
Yeah, so if you are local, I live in Hiram, Utah, so northern Utah. We're having a launch party at the Hiram Civic Center on November 17th from 4 to 7 p.m. This book is also on Night Notebooks already. The ebook is available. The physical copy will be available on November 17th. So both of them are on Night Nook right now currently. So if you can actually get a little sneak peek on Night Book for getting it there. But you're welcome to join us.
We're so excited. Okay, thanks so much. Have
Thank
a
you.
great day.
Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.